Hey, what is up guys, you get Gypsy and we are back here today with my week 9 match in the APA, the Little Cup League, and yeah, we're facing off against Panther this week. He is the coach of the Carolina Cleffas. Panther's one of the commissioners of the APA, so yeah, one of the dudes that runs this whole league, so that's pretty cool. Very friendly guy, and he often, he actually always records my games. I think Gurgulator recorded one of my matches earlier on in the season, but for the most part, Panther is the guy who records my matches, so yeah, shouts out to him for that. He also recorded my side of the game for this week, so I very much appreciate that. Shout outs to Phantombass for joining my team as well this week. So yeah, we're facing off against Panther. As I said, he is currently 6-2 going into this game, so he's having a pretty good season. He's definitely on the upper end of the coaches as far as the standings go. I think at this point in the season we are 8-0. So this is week 9. So we're 8-0 at the moment. So Panther's up there. He's definitely up there. He's doing really well with the team he's got. He's got Abra, which is a really cool mon. I'm actually using that in a Little Cup tour which I'm playing in, and that's something I'll probably be uploading to the channel after I've finished my run in that. But anyway, Panther has a very solid team. He's got Larvesta, which I think is a really cool mon, very underrated in the format. Like I haven't said a lot of talk about it, but it's definitely a really solid mon. Can be very versatile offensively and defensively. And then he's got stuff like Chinchou, which is a really cool mon, a mon that I really wanted to get second overall. When we were drafting, I wanted to get Volibee plus Chinchou. They just synergize together so well. But unfortunately, I did get sniped to that one. But yeah, it's a fantastic mon, really solid mon in the tier. Provides his offense some nice safe switches in the form of Volt Switch. And he's got some other threats like Tyrant, which is used pretty well. So yeah, definitely a solid team. You see here he's opted to bring the Beldum, which is an interesting pick. I think maybe he brought that as a sort of secondary response to my Psychic types, as well as potentially a Meowth check if he's like a Rocky Helmet, or just something to wear down my Meowth. Maybe a lure, maybe an anti-Spritzy mon, because Spritzy has just been destroying the league. I think it's currently like the league MVP or something with the most kills and least deaths, something like that. So yeah, I can definitely understand him wanting to have a few countermeasures to that. Though Larvesta's a pretty solid Spritzy response itself, but that's kind of my thinking at matchup anyway. So the team we have this week, pretty clean team. We got this game. So we got Meowth, pretty solid Life Orb set. Just a Life Orb mix attacker, the dual priority plus Water Pulse and Hidden Power Ice actually. Hidden Power Ice helps me tackle his Tyrant in conjunction with Fake Out, so Tyrant does run Sturdy a lot, and so Fake Out into Hidden Power Ice to a Sturdy Berry Juice variant will be able to clean bop that thing. He also has an Amoonguss. He's got a Fungus, which is like an S tier Little Cup Pokemon, and it's a very solid mon in his team. He could well have brought that to check my my Corphish, which is a very big threat to the team he's brought today. Barring his potential water absorb Chinchou, but yeah, I felt like Fungus definitely had a place in this matchup. Also helps him versus the Spritzy, but Hidden Power Ice would be able to do some significant damage to that, especially if I can knock off its Violite. So then we have my Rocks Recycle Bronzor. Nothing too crazy about this set. Very solid check to stuff like Tyrant, Beldum. Decent response to Abra, though Abra is probably going to be running Life Orb in this matchup, just given my natural bulk on my team. And Life Orb Shadow Ball is going to be doing a lot to my Bronzor. But a pretty solid catch-all check to a few of his offensive mons. Then I have a Z-Psychic Smoochum, which is really nice. I'm actually Fake Out in this set, so I can pop Sturdy on stuff like Tyrant. I can and just hit it with an Ice Beam the next turn, outspeeding it naturally. Z-Psychic is very useful for stuff like Chinchou and Larvesta, being able to just get huge damage off on that. And I can potentially also play this Smoochum as though I am a Scarf variant, so that might actually really help me in the late game when I do reveal the Z-Psychic. Then we have a Scarf Volibee. My first time bringing Scarf, and it's really solid on paper here. Being able to revenge stuff like Abra, being able to 2-hit KO like a bulky Chinchou with Rocks up, switching in on Knockoff is amazing. Being able to check +1 Tyrant is very solid. And then we have a defensive Spritzy. I'm actually Spidef, so I'm not 2-hit KO'd by Life Orb, by a max roll Life Orb Psychic from a Abra, which is just insane. And I can also take physical hits relatively well with this set as well. And lastly, I have an Eviolite Budju, which can set up spikes versus his team. His team hates spikes. Stacking's pretty nice versus him if I can just remove the Sandshrew. And it's a very nice check to stuff like Chinchou. And even Tyrant I can live a hit from and hit him back with a powerful Giga Drain. So that's going to be the matchup. I'm feeling pretty good about this game. He's brought a team that I wasn't really expecting. Like, I was definitely expecting the Fungus to come, but he's opted to bring stuff like Beldum in place of that, so that's interesting. But yeah, feeling good about the team. Panther's a great player, so this is going to be an interesting game. We're going to jump right into it. In terms of, it's just a bit of lag here. In terms of like lead matchup, I felt like he had a few mons he could lead with. Definitely the Larvesta could be a lead, especially if it is a scarfed U-turn variant, or even just a bulky slow U-turn variant. He could lead with something like Tyrant to get up rocks, but he ends up leading with the Chinchou here. And that's interesting for me. I am going to lead with my Meowth because it is a pretty nice lead, honestly. Like, if he wants to reveal Protect on a mon like Chinchou, that implies he's not scarfed, which is big information for my Vullaby, meaning I don't have to fear a 17 speed scarfed Chinchou outspeeding my scarf Vullaby. So all good information to know for the beginning of this game. So he goes for Protect here, and this turn I am going to switch out into my Spritzy, as he's going to go for the Volt Switch. And Spritzy's a decent play here because he doesn't grab too much momentum with his Volt Switch, just because Spritzy can pretty much chew a hit from anything on his team. And if he wants to make some doubles, expecting me to switch, I do have Protect on my set. So this turn he's going to go into his Beldum, and I figured he might make a double here into his Larvesta, expecting my Bronzor to come in on his Beldum, wanting to set up rocks. So I'm going to go for the Protect this turn, and this is going to give me some information on this Larvesta. He's going to go for the U-turn, as I'm just going to throw a Wish in the air. I do live like Flare Blitz easily from this Larvesta, so Wish is pretty safe from my part, and I gain information on this, and that tells me that he's definitely a more defensive Larvesta based on that U-turn damage. It did 3 damage, which is kind of the role for like minimal or just no attack investment on Larvesta. So I'm going to receive the Wish, get back up to full, and pretty much negate all the damage that was dealt by his early game momentum grabbing with the Chinchou. So he's going to bring back in his Beldum. And this thing is certainly a threat to my Spritzy if he's like a Life Orb set. I haven't seen any damage done yet, so I can't determine his spread. But he's going to make the double again out into his Larvesta, capitalizing on my Bronzor. And this is a nice play on his part, because he's really adamant about getting his Larvesta in versus my Steel type. He doesn't want me to get up rocks, which is smart, because rocks really punish his team. But I'm going to go back out into my Spritzy, knowing I can comfortably live a defensive Flare Blitz from a Larvesta, as this is not going to do too much, and I really feel like this thing is going to be a Violite as opposed to a Z-move variant. So it does 10 damage, so well and truly under half, as I am going to Wish up. Now he reveals the Toxic, which is a really nice bring. Obviously if I am Aromatherapy, it's really not the end of the world, but I'm not actually an Aromatherapy Spritzy this week, so I'm going to throw up a Wish, and just going to Protect the next turn, as he does. No, I think I Moonblast actually. I Moonblast this turn, as I do expect him to U-turn out back into his Beldum. And getting this Moonblast damage off with my Spritzy onto his Beldum will give me some really nice information on whether he's in a Violite set, whether he's like offensive or whatnot. So I'm just going to go for the Moonblast, knowing that he was more than likely going to U-turn there, as I do get this really nice damage off on this Beldum. And this tells me that he's definitely not a Violite. He's more than likely either Berry Juice or some kind of offensive item. So this turn I am going to switch out. I'm going to make the switch out into my Vullaby. This covers him going for the Zen Headbutt. It also, like, I take an Iron Head naturally, and it covers him going for an attack that would be aimed at hitting my Steel Resist, as well as him making a double into his Larvesta, because I am Scarfed. I would be able to click Brave Bird, or just go for the knockoff. So this turn I am actually going to go for the U-turn, expecting him to make the play out into his Chinchou. If he did stay in and I go for U-turn there, I switch into my Beldum, my Bronzor, and I get to set up rocks that turn. So it was a very fine play for me to make there, as this does give me my Budju, and this will allow me to set up a spike here, which is going to be really nice, as his Chinchou is going to take some nice damage. And he's going to make the switch this turn out into his, he goes out into his Bronzor again, his Beldum. I'm going to keep confusing these because they're both still Psychic types, I'm telling you guys right now. And so I'm going to get my spikes up, and this turn he's going to stay in actually, as I make the switch out into my Zonga. He's going to stay in, and no, he's going to make the switch. Sorry, I switched out first because I'm faster. He's going to make the switch out into his Sandshrew here actually, on my on my Budgie, and that's really interesting because that means that he predicted me to go out into my Bronzor. Most likely my Bronzor, because that was the only thing that could really take a hit. Like my Volibee couldn't take an Iron Head at that point, and he's actually going to get up his rocks here. So that was a really fun play. Panther's playing this well, like particularly this early game. He's playing this well, and he's putting me in a spot where I really have to make some aggressive plays right here. So you're going to see that. So I'm going to go for the Giga Drain here. I'm going to pop this Beldum below half, and that is actually going to activate his Berry Juice. And right here I'm thinking, alright, this man's aggressive switches, they've been working out for him. Like, he's probably feeling himself a little bit, like he's probably feeling good about the aggressive switches he's making with this Beldum, knowing that it really forces my hand into a defensive response. So I'm going to stay in here and Giga Drain once again, as he's going to go out into his Sandshrew and catch this Giga Drain. So we get in there, and that's really nice. We really weaken this thing, because as I mentioned earlier, if I can weaken this thing down or just remove it from the game, he won't be able to spin rocks away, and that's really going to hinder his Larvesta being able to, switch in defensively to stuff like Spritzy on my team. So he's going to go for the knockoff, and that's really solid for me. So he chooses to knock off as opposed to removing spikes with rapid spin, and I'm more than happy to make that exchange, because realistically, Budgie was going to drop eventually to either Bronzor or, not Bronzor, fucking Beldum, or his Larvesta. And that is what's going to happen. I'm going to end up sacking off my Budgie. I wouldn't have been able to live with Fleblitz even if I did have my Violet there, so it really wasn't the end of the world, as he is going to go for the Fleblitz. And like I mentioned, Larvesta is a threat. I don't really have great counterplay to this mon at this stage, given that my Spritzy is now toxic. So it's going to leave him pretty low, and this turn I am going to bring in my Smoochum. Now, bring in Young Smoocher, and right here I heavily contemplated going for the Fake Out this turn. As what Fake Out would have done is it would have covered him making the play of switching into his Beldum, scouting for anything really. I could have faked out into Shadow Ball and knocked him out, but ultimately I did decide to just stay in here, and I decided to stay in here and click Z Psychic on the off chance that he did leave this in. But he does make the play. Like, if he goes out into Beldum, he lives the Z Psychic, but then he dies to Shadow Ball the following turn. So I was kind of happy with this exchange. I just wanted to really get a kill with this Smoochum, but yeah, like had I gone for Fake Out into Shadow Ball, I would have preserved my Z Psychic. So that's not really going to come to play, as you're going to see, but it would have been nice to potentially snipe something else. But anyway, we get the thumbnail here. We get the thumbnail pick. Smoochum using his Shattered Sky Strike. This mon has been putting in the work for me. Like, this thing is like tier 3, but it has been doing so well this season, as Ice and Psychic is just such nasty offensive typing for a team to take on. So I'm going to launch a Shadow Ball here and knock out this Beldum, as Smoochum is going to claim its first life. And right here he's going to bring in Tone here, which is his Abra. So Abra is definitely a threat. Now it could be a Fake Out, it could be a Focus Sash variant versus my team, but the more likely, like, Focus Sash is such a spammable Abra set because it's so good versus so many teams, especially offensive teams. But versus a team like mine with such high natural bulk, I felt like Panther may well opt to bring a Life Orb set. So that is why I EV'd my Spritzy to be able to take two Life Orb Psychics. And right here I am going to make the switch out into my Spritzy, kind of sacking it off, and also just switching in to determine what sort of damage his Abra can deal to me. And if he is Life Orb, that's fantastic, because it means my Scarf Volibee will be able to OHKO it. I won't have to worry about him being Sash or anything like that. And that Shadow Ball damage confirms that he is indeed Life Orb. Modest Sash cannot deal that kind of damage to Spritzy, so he's definitely Life Orb. And he will be able to revenge me here with the Psychic. He's going to take out my Spritzy. Spritzy was on a timer there with the Toxic, so honestly it was kind of expendable at that point in the game. So right here I'm going to go into my Volibee. Now I take 5 from Stealth Rocks, meaning that I do still have one more switch into Stealth Rocks, which is going to be very crucial in this endgame, as he is going to bring in his Chinchou. And if he is Berry Juice, I'm going to knock it off here and be able to 2 KO him, as this knockoff is going to do some pretty big damage, and he doesn't reveal to be Berry Juice or Eviolite. He doesn't reveal to be any item, so he's more than likely a Z move on his Chinchou, which is interesting. Potentially Sub-Zero Slammer to kind of get the jump on my Budgie, so that's pretty cool. So this turn I am going to switch out. I'm going to want to preserve my my Volibee, as it is a really nice win con in this late game. And I'm going to go out to Smoochum here. I go out to Smoochum because what Smoochum does is, even if he Dragon Dances once with this Tyrant, it forces him to attack the following turn, as opposed to me going out into my Beldum. If I went out into, not Beldum, my Bronzor. If I go into Bronzor here, and he Dragon Dances and he's a Berry Juice variant, for example, he could Dragon Dance the following turn, free of worrying about being knocked out by my Bronzor at that range of health, and that would put him in a position to win the game. Whereas me going into my Smoochum, that forces him into a position where he has to attack and remain at +1 worst case scenario if he does choose to Dragon Dance on the turn I switch out into Smoochum, meaning that my Scarf Wallaby would be able to outspeed an Oko with the Scarf Foul play. But instead he tends to just attack. He chooses to just attack and go for the Iron Head here, which was an interesting play, I guess. I think Iron Head was safe if you didn't want to risk going for a Rock Slide there or a Stone Edge or something like that. But this will give me my Meowth here, and I am just going to be able to click Fake Out. It's really free. Nothing wants to take a Fake Out, and if he is a Scarfed Iron Head set, he won't be able to kill my Meowth from this range of health, and he will be in range to die to my Fake Out plus Hidden Power Ice. And based on the Fake Out damage, he wasn't in a Violet Tyrant, which means that he was, guaranteed to go down there. And my Meowth is looking in a fantastic spot to win this endgame. So at this point in the match, because it doesn't show the ones I've got left, I'm just going to tell you, I've got my Meowth, I've got my Volibee, which has one round of Rock Switch-ins left, and I have a Bronzor that is that still has its Berry Juice intact, but is pretty much fodder to Larvesta at this stage in the game, as well as Life Orb Abra, I believe, from the range of health I'm at. So I've got a Meowth, I've got a Bronzor, and I've got a Volibee. Now, the way I win this game is by going out into Bronzor here, sacking it to Abra, who I know for a fact is Life Orb, and probably has Protect. And then I sack my Bronzor off, I go into my Scarf Wallaby, and I click Knock Off. What Knock Off does is it kills Abra, or if he wants to switch in his Larvesta, it kills it 2-KOs his Larvesta after removing its Violet and taking the spike damage. Then he's left with Abra. I can click Knock Off again and kill that, or at worst I have Meowth in the back to be able to take out this Abra. The way I throw this game is by sacking off Meowth, because if I sack off Meowth here and bring in my Volibee, I can't. If he can just sack Abra, and I can't Oko the Larvesta without clicking Brave Bird. And if I click Brave Bird, I die to recoil. So like, if I were to preserve my Bronzor here and sack off my Meowth, I lose the game. If I go into Bronzor, sack off Bronzor, win with Volibee and Meowth, I win the game. For some reason, I'm not too sure why. Like I'm really sort of puzzled as to why I made this series of plays. I choose to sack off Meowth here for the feint damage when it was completely unnecessary, and Meowth had Life Orb Water Pulse, which destroyed Larvesta in conjunction with Fake Out. But I choose to sack Meowth, and this is like 100% a throw. I handed Panther this endgame on a silver plate by sacking Meowth when I had a perfectly fine Bronzor in the back to sack, and this ultimately is going to hurt me because my Volibee, whilst it will be able to obviously revenge this Abra and outspeed and hit the Larvesta, like I explained, I won't be able to Oko the Larvesta with one attack that isn't Brave Bird, and if I Brave Bird, I'll obviously knock myself out to recoil versus this Abra, and I don't have any more Stealth Rock switch-ins. So unfortunately, I'm going to throw this endgame away, which is something that doesn't happen all too often on this channel. I think the last time it happened was CPC Finals, when I threw away my mini Pex that walled his Suicune, and I ended up losing to Suicune. So every once in a while I do kind of just lose sight of the end game, which is unfortunate. It happens to most people, but yeah, that's just kind of what happened here. So he's going to make his best play possible of healing up his Larvesta and allowing my my Volibee to just go down here to the burn. And obviously Bronzor can't do a whole lot to this Larvesta, and I'm not heat proof here. I am Levitate to check Tyrant better, so he will be able to live. He will be able to knock me out here with the Flare Blitz, even though I am very defensive because Larvesta is a monster. So that is going to be a pretty funny ending to my Week 9 game. I was very happy with the way I played the early to mid game, especially the plays I made with my Budgie, but obviously very frustrating to lose an end game like that, just throwing it away. But it is what it is. It's kind of a refresher, to just always stay on top of your game, even when you're in a position where you see you're out, where you see your win, you see how you win. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of that and to kind of make reckless decisions like I did in this game. So yeah, definitely something to learn from. But I hope you guys did enjoy. It was definitely a fun game and I enjoyed it a lot. despite the way it ended. But that's going to be it. Go and check out Panther's side of the match, and yeah, let me know what you guys thought of the match in the comments below. What you thought of Z Psychic Smoochum coming through. That's going to be it. Hope you guys did enjoy, and I'll catch you guys next time.